Hello and welcome to Music Rewind, a podcast where we look to tell the stories behind our favorite albums. I'm your host, Steve Epley, and in each episode I will invite a guest on to tell us about their favorite music album, how they discovered it, and what makes it special to them. Today on Music Rewind, we are bringing you something a little bit different, a special bonus episode featuring some previous guests as we discuss classic rock. First up is Alan Ziegler from our discussion of Band on the Run.
Hello, fellow self-proclaimed classic rock experts. Take it easy on me, and let's have fun with this.
Next up is Doug Brinkler from our episode on Van Halen 1.
Present. I'm glad to be here. Let's rock this.
Finishing up our roundtable is Luke Boris, whose episode on Radiohead's In Rainbows may or may not have posted yet, depending on when this one hits the airwaves.
Not classic rock.
Hello, it's good to be back. Looking forward to this one.
Welcome, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us today.
So it goes.
So it goes.
You knew that was coming. You knew that was coming. Come on, tell me you didn't know that was coming.
Have you listened to it yet, though? That's
you know what? I did, and I enjoyed it. I really, nice. I did. I really enjoyed it. It has some really cool ebbs and flows to it, and that's what, to me, in listening to all these podcasts, I have gone back so far, with the exception of Phantom of the Opera one, because I just listened to that the other day. I haven't had a chance to, but I went and listened to the albums that have been on here, and I mean, I think I really rediscovered the beauty of these albums, and then listening to the people's stories for me and how they connect, it gives me a whole different perspective on all the types of music. I mean, the DMX and the Lauryn Hill and the Phantom, those are way out of my league. Those are way too smart for me. I don't normally listen to that stuff, but when I go back and listen to it, it's, a totally different appreciation for it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I appreciate it because that wasn't music I normally listened to back when some of those albums were popular. But also, when I was a kid, I liked the Star Wars album, which was the John Williams orchestra.
Oh, yeah.
And, I really appreciated then. And then I heard Van Halen, and it was all it was all over from that. But, I still have that John Williams album, and there's 2 songs on it that are pretty much worn out. That's how long I listened to, I listened to the whole album, but there's 2.
If someone brought the greatest hits of John Williams to the table, I would do that album in a heartbeat.
Yes.
We just watched Home Alone yesterday, and that's a great John Williams one, and you hear Harry Potter in there, and then if you get into Jurassic Park, obviously Star Wars, so many. That's the master right there.
Yeah, it was great.
So what we will be doing this evening is each member of our group of classic rock scholars has a few questions, and one by one we will be asking our questions and then either praising or mocking our colleagues on their musical tastes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we have all nominated Luke to go first with his leadoff question. What you got for us, Luke?
Well, I actually asked you when I first found out I was going to be on this episode, what is considered classic rock? So we discussed it and decided, hey, this might be a good kickoff question. So when I was growing up in the 90s, classic rock was kind of considered 60s, 70s, bit of the 80s, and so on. But it's now 2021. And if you subtract 30 years from that, it is 1991. So is grunge now classic rock? So I guess we need to determine what classic means to each of us. So,
well, I think the criteria, I actually think that you do make a valid point of being the 30 years, because I wrote on my thing that it's a song that stands the test of time or stands out, or you listen to it on the radio and you turn it up, even though the song may be 30 years old. If it's good music, and it's eternal. for me, it would be classic music would be The Who, Boston, and we can keep going up the years. But I think what it is it's got to be stand the test of time. Even the 50s doo-wop music, there's a couple of those that really stand the test of time, and I could jam to those in my convertible just as I could songs from the 2000s.
To me, I think anything that derives from the blues or R&B type songs can be considered classics or classic rock. I think so. In saying that, I think you can span any amount of time. I mean, I look at a band now, like I was thinking, like the Dirty Knobs right now. I mean, to me, that's classic rock, and that's out when that came out last year, 2020, 2019 maybe now, I don't know. But a band like that, it has that classic rock feel to me, and I would consider that you could play that on any classic rock station.
You can make that argument. To me, the decades themselves are key in identifying classic rock. Like if you mentioned recent bands, I could see the Black Keys being right there. They could have come out in the 70s and they would have fit right in.
Yeah, they pulled it out of that blues genre.
To me, classic rock was largely developed in my mind, number one by my dad and Alan with their influence, but then also 100.9 WLRZ. Right there out of the Illinois Valley.
Yeah.
That was the classic rock station. And I don't even think it exists anymore, WLRZ, as it was, but I don't know. But to me, it was, when you get into the end of the 50s, early 60s, and then right up until grunge. Grunge was the end of classic rock to me. So all the good rock of the 80s, I personally do put that into a classic rock bucket.
I don't even know if there was good rock in the 80s.
There absolutely was.
I was going to say there was a lot of stuff in the 80s that I would not consider. It cannot all be considered classic rock because there was some real crap.
I mean, Tom Petty was 80s, though.
Yeah. I mean, there was some real crap out there that I listen to now and go, it did not age well at all.
But then you've got like Van Halen, 1984.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses, The Cars.
Yeah.
Yes.
I put all that in classic.
Phil Collins, U2, REM.
Yeah.
But like Alan mentioned Tom Petty, which is a good point because does it follow the artist too? Because Tom Petty had some great tracks in the 90s, which was after grunge came out, from Full Moon Fever and Wallflowers.
He had some great tracks in the 70s too. I mean, you're going to get Damn the Torpedoes.
The Traveling Wilburys. I mean, you had Roy Orbison, and I mean, oh my gosh, man! I
would consider all that classic rock, but then kind of bridges that, a little bleed over, I guess you could say.
And when Tom Petty came out, it was he was labeled in that post-punk new wave category forever too, and then it just somewhere along the way it just evolved into classic rock.
MTV videos of them were kind of new wave. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then later on, it went to almost
like on the new wave side. You'll get bands like the Talking Heads. I mean, what bucket do you put them in?
Same thing. They started out on that new wave.
Classic, and they're classic rock. Yeah.
Yeah. They started out CBGBs, with Blondie and the Ramones. That's another one.
You hear them on classic rock stations now, too.
Yeah.
I personally like the Ramones, and I would think some of their stuff is classic. Some people like it's punk. I listen to it now, and it seems slightly slower than it did when it came out. But I would call it classic.
Now, I've got another question. So, singer-songwriters, you've always given me crap about my love for singer-songwriters, Al.
Yeah.
So, Paul Simon.
I give everybody crap about everything.
You are the self-proclaimed music snob.
There you go.
Wasn't it, I mean, I don't remember this, but wasn't it George Carlin who said he might stole this off somebody too. I don't even know, but he said something like, "Good music is what you listen to, and bad music is everything else."
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all you, right? Everything you like is good. Everything that you don't like is bad, or else you'd be listening.
I can see that for sure.
I mean, I have a feeling that most of our answers, though, are going to be in that 60s, 70s, 80s time frame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we can argue classic rock definition. I mean, we could do that for days and probably never come out with. I mean, seriously, I could tell by the answers. It's not going to get resolved in a podcast in an hour.
Well, let's move on to another question. Alan, give us one of yours.
I wanted to know, I mean, this should be fairly straightforward. What was everybody's first concert?
Oh, first concert? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not like, going to a church concert or something like that, like an actual concert.
I saw Johnny Cash at the Peoria Shrine Mosque. That
was your first one?
In the early 70s.
Oh,
yeah, because
nice.
I was probably 12, and it was really good, and it was.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was exciting to see that. There was no fireworks or anything, but that was one of those guys that I think he could. He didn't actually have to sing; he could just talk, and it just sounded good. I mean, his voice is kind of like if Morgan Freeman did Raining Blood. I'd buy that album. So let's get with Kerry King and with Morgan Freeman. I want to hear that.
I would have loved to have seen that concert. Yeah. Anytime I wish I could have seen Johnny Cash at any point in his career.
Yeah. It was really good. And his wife was there, and then his mother-in-law and stuff, and they were really good. I'm glad my dad spent the money. It was probably $7 back then.
Your dad took you? Your dad took you?
He really liked
like
Johnny Cash.
Thing?
I grew up in the household of country and Western music. So, but Johnny Cash, I think, succeeds all genres of music,
I do find it funny that our first question off of what is classic rock happens to be a country Western artist. So.
Well,
well, you know what? You listen to Cocaine Blues. You got to remember that he toured with Elvis and
Jerry Lee Lewis and Roy Orbison and all them. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, there was a rock.
And I would have loved to have seen that particular.
Can you imagine being at Sun Records at that time, seeing all the greats? I think the devil was sitting outside taking souls before the guys walked in. I mean, that was the place that just was busting out albums. Every one of those guys were considered classic for sure.
I'll seg off of the country music. So here's one for you to fuel the fire, I guess. My first concert was Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh boy, achy breaky heart.
Yes. So I was 5 years old, and my mom dragged me because she wanted to go with her friends, and so.
Is that a clear memory?
No. I don't remember a darn thing about it. But my first classic rock artist that I saw was George Thorogood and the Destroyers.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I saw him with my dad at a little shack in East Peoria, Illinois. No one came. It was almost embarrassing. I felt bad for George. But my dad and I stayed a little bit back, but we could have walked up and high-fived any of the band members. But it was a fantastic show. They still just completely rocked it out, knowing that there was no one there, and they were basically in the middle of central Illinois, no one around. They still gave it their all, and it was fantastic. So
my first rock concert would have been Van Halen. So that was a pretty good first concert, and it was definitely way louder than Johnny Cash. That was back when insurance companies and stuff didn't care if people's ears bled and people lost hearing.
How about you, Alan?
My first one was September 9th, 1982. I saw Greg Kihn open up for Rick Springfield at the Peoria Civic Center.
Yeah.
So that's not really classic rock either, right? I mean, Greg Kihn, maybe.
You probably get a little crap.
I have Greg Kihn. I've got tons of Greg Kihn on vinyl. My dad was a fan, so I'd lump that into the classic rock.
The video was great.
So you know what was great about that was I was like a month or so into being a freshman, and my uncle Kevin Epley he took me to that, and it was like 75% female to 25% male.
Sweet.
And it was very fun. Nice. I'll just say it was very fun. As being a freshman, yeah, it was cool. So that was the only good part.
I was going to say,
it.
Rick Springfield probably brought in a lot of women because he was on soap operas. He was I think it was
super popular.
Was it General Hospital? Yeah. I think he was on
General Hospital.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Doug, what's your first question?
Well, mine was.
Well, Steve, what was yours? What was your first?
Got you next.
Yeah, my first concert was Metallica. About a month before I shipped out to the Army. I was 18, up at Pecatonica Fairgrounds in Illinois.
Oh yeah.
What album
this was 98.
Was that?
This was right after Load, and they came out and they said,
"Oh, they were already on the deep line."
Well, they came out and they said, "Sorry for the fans of our recent stuff, but we feel like playing old shit."
Yeah,
and the crowd went nuts, and there was, it was all old stuff. A couple, they had their hits off Load, sure, but it was great though. The opening for them were Days of the New and Jerry Cantrell.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I've seen Jerry Cantrell. He's cool. Awesome. Yeah,
that's a heck of a lineup.
Yeah, it was a hell of a first concert because I was 18, and within like an hour, the beer garden fence had been torn down, so beer was flowing freely throughout the whole place. They oversold it, so there were cars like all the way down the highway.
Oh, cool.
People didn't get in. We went early to see the opening acts, but there were a lot of people that didn't get in at all, including. My cousin Chris, he could hear it.
Right.
He couldn't get in there. Yeah, that was a great starting point.
That's funny. I saw Metallica on a Monsters of Rock tour in I think it was '89 with
Guns N' Roses,
Van Halen,
Motley Crue.
No, this was Van Halen, Metallica, Dokken, and somebody else. But Metallica came on like second, and as soon as Metallica came on, the fence surrounding the thing was tore down. They just trampled the fence, and everybody started going towards the stage.
Oh, yeah.
It was a crazy scene. And then, speaking of that Pecatonica, I saw Metallica there when they were on the Lollapalooza, and that was a good show. The only problem with that fairground is one way in and one way out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah.
Took forever.
I'm glad we went in early.
That place. Cool place, though.
Well, go for it, Doug. What's your first question?
Oh, my first question was, what's your favorite album? I'll have you go through there because I want to hear what you guys say first.
Well, I want to add a caveat to favorite album that you have not covered on the podcast.
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, there is a correct answer to this question, and
there is.
Quadrophenia is the greatest album of all time. So I love rock operas, so 2112 and The Wall, etc. But Quadrophenia just it does it for me.
I think 2112 is awesome. The Wall is another awesome album. Those were good picks that you picked there.
To build off of Luke there, my pick is Tommy.
Oh my gosh, that's another great one.
So, I had seen the movie many times growing up, and which I'm glad I did, because when I eventually listened to the full album, y'all ever see the movie Almost Famous?
Yes.
Yeah. At the beginning, the older sister she leaves him a note. It says, "Listen to Tommy with a candle on, it'll change your life."
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I actually, not with a candle on, but went out there and I bought the CD, and having seen the movie, I understood the entire album, and it was fantastic. And it is still one that I just listen to all the way through all the time.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Yep, Keith Moon and John Entwistle are
that's
absolutely
for sure.
Phenomenal. And Pete Townsend, one of the greatest songwriters out there, in my opinion, obviously. But
sure, he's making a lot more money than he did then by all these shows snippeting his music for the intros and
living off CSI royalties now.
Oh my God, he definitely is. Yeah.
What about you, Alan?
No. I'm going off of my favorite album is what I always listen to the most. It's either Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger or Smoke from Driving and Crime, and I listen to those like all the time.
You bought me Bad Motorfinger for Christmas a few years back, so on vinyl, I should say. I've known it since I was young, but you got me the reissue, and I still listen to that to this day. So,
and I got the CD on that one, so that's awesome. Yeah, that's what I did. For me, I put what's your favorite album, and I started thinking because I like ZZ Top's Eliminator, but there's one song on that was TV Dinners, and so that kind of took it out of my favorite album. And this one is Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses, because the guys had so much attitude that I can listen to that album, and even at my age now, I can crank the album.
That's a fantastic album.
Yeah.
I still like every song. A lot of times things get overplayed, and I think for a little bit some of the stuff got overplayed, but then now they don't play it as much, so now I can listen through the whole album all the way
There's
through.
a lot of great tracks that are not popular hits off there, like Mr. Brownstone and others. I mean, there's
one of my favorites. Yeah,
that's in 1987. I was in Daytona, Florida for I think it was a Pepsi 400 or something before the Coca-Cola 500. But the walk there, I'm trying to think at Daytona Beach
has the boardwalk down there.
Yeah, the boardwalk had the bar in the middle of the pier there, and I hear the band. I go in there, and it obnoxiously loud, and I couldn't even tell if they could play or not. And I noticed what was written on a little chalkboard, Guns N' Roses, and I thought, Guns N' Roses, those have nothing to do with each other. I like, this is stupid. But I do remember going in and seeing the top hat on Slash, and this is before they were, years before they got famous. But I listened to one song, but it was, you couldn't even understand the words or anything. And I'm all about loud, but that was obnoxiously not well mixed. You couldn't understand what anybody's saying. I'm like, I thought these guys kind of suck. So, you know what I mean? And then years later, I would have died to have a ticket to see them back in their heyday, Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the next question here. What is your favorite long track, like over 10 minutes long?
Oh, go ahead, Al.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think for me, it's probably Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding, Elton John.
There we go.
The other ones I had was either Low Spark of High Heeled Boys from Traffic. I think is really cool. Really
that's
long,
an excellent one.
Slow beginning. And then Closer, I'm Your Captain from Grand Funk. I thought that's another one of my favorites. I really wanted to say the Abbey Road medley, but I thought that was cheating. So, because that's really, is that considered one track? Is that allowable, Alex? Is that allowable, Judge?
Having not watched that Beatles documentary, I'm going to say no. But it is a great medley.
Oh, I love it. I listen to it. I still listen to it. Like every other week I'm listening to that thing.
What's yours, Luke?
I went with Pink Floyd, Pigs, 3 different ones. So I think...
love that track.
Animals is the perfect balance of the Pink Floyd sound and Roger Waters' kind of theatrics, the Final Cut and The Wall, obviously. So I think it's got the conceptual elements. And then my favorite era of Floyd is Metal to Animals. So I think that's where they kind of developed their sound to my ears, to my liking. So anyway, bass line is phenomenal in that song. The cowbell, the pig noises, that kind of alludes to the album title.
I love cowbell.
There you go. Yeah.
Animals for Pink Floyd is their peak to me. There and then Into the Wall is that those two are right there at the peak for me, and Pigs is just a phenomenal song, which in a future episode of the podcast will be spoken about, in deep detail. But I love the anger that comes out in those lyrics, and also so much imagery in the entire story of that album. And Pigs is Roger Waters at his most angry. I love it.
Absolutely. Haha, charade you are. And Gilmore's guitar solo at the end. Like I said, It's just a culmination of that sound that they found. And then you could tell they're kind of getting into that theatrical rock opera mode on that album, but it's the perfect mix of the two.
There's a couple parts in there that you can tell, like, where The Wall came from.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. What's yours, Steve, on that? What was yours?
Mine is the Almond Brothers, the live version of In Memory of Elizabeth Reed, off their album At Fillmore East.
Oh, that's cool.
I consider that one. Yeah.
It's about 13 minutes, and it's just a fantastic instrumental. Yeah. It kicks the shit out of the studio version.
Right. I can't believe nobody thought of this too. Mine's Freebird, Leonard Skinner. I mean, that's been used in so many different movies, and just sitting by a fire cooking marshmallows. I mean, Freebird was freaking just a really good song, and it's just over 10 minutes, like 10 minutes and 9 seconds. I also like Rush 2112. That's a much longer. And then I do have a liking for Iron Maiden, and they have the Ancient Mariner, which is over 13 minutes long, and it's actually poetry with music. And I don't know if people really listen to Iron Maiden like I do, but the artwork and stuff with Eddie on the cover and all that stuff makes people believe that the music is different than what they actually play. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they play some rock and stuff, but they also can get mellow and play some
Iron Maiden has come up quite a bit in this podcast, just in the side conversations. And I think I need to check them out a little more and hear more than just their known songs. I need to dive into them a bit.
I'm in the same boat. Never given them a shot. So
in my this episode isn't live yet, but my episode with Tommy Wood doing Kiss Destroyer, we talk about Iron Maiden quite a bit, and apparently they got new stuff really recently.
Yeah. Yes.
It just came out.
Yeah, it just came out. I like two of the songs. When you're a fan, you're looking for something, and for that album, there's two songs that I like, and that doesn't pose well because most of the albums I like more than that. Everyone, like I said, that ZZ Top Eliminator. There was one song on that I was like, but if I'm going to a car show, I drop the top and I'd throw in some ZZ Top. They just really had that hot rod thing with the Eliminator car and stuff like that. So, and they had a lot of classic songs. And
on ZZ Top, I have a quick story which involves Alan at my uncle's wedding in the mid '80s. I was real pissed off. I was a grumpy little 5-6-year-old, and I was uncomfortable and just didn't want to be there. But then along comes Alan. He's like, Every Girl's Crazy About a Sharp-Dressed Man.
There you go. And you straighten right
I can't believe you remember that.
I do.
Oh my gosh! I have the picture of you sitting on my lap. You're asleep at the wedding. Oh my gosh! Yep.
Yeah, the 80s.
Wow, that's crazy.
Go to take us to another question there, Alan.
What? Let me see. What was the first album you bought? Any album, like what did you buy with your own money? Not like you got for a birthday present or something.
So my first CD purchase with my own money was a deal because I actually spent my money and I got my first stereo for my room with a little 5-disc changer. So I got 5 CDs with it. And
nice.
And so it was one big bulk purchase, and it was Tupac's first album.
right.
Very classic rock.
Dr. Dre, The Chronic.
Very classic rock.
Common Thread, which was Songs of the Eagles by country artists.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, not a bad album.
I remember that.
But I mean, I'll finish strong here. Queen, A Night at the Opera.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And Eagles, Hotel California.
Yeah, that's good too. Yep.
Okay.
So I put those 5 in there, hit shuffle, and it would take a while, but I get an interesting playlist.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of those classic rock ones canceled out the other ones, so you're okay.
Yeah, I'd probably put it on repeat a lot, but just giving you crap. My first one was Beatles Revolver, and I got cut grass and stuff like that, and neighbor had a garage sale, and his older brother had some record albums there. I bought that, and I enjoyed the Beatles. Now, I do remember the first 45 I bought, and that was Rolling Stones' Honky Tonk Woman, and it had a barfly on the front of the chick at the end of the bar or whatever. And my mom says, "Are you sure this is the 45 you want to buy?" And I said, "Yeah, Mom, yeah." Because it had cowbell in the song. And my mom was thrilled. She's like, "Oh, boy." She's okay. It was my money. And I actually bought that. So
Honky Tonk, Mom. Country and Western. Come on, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I think my first 45 was Little TNA from the Stones. And then wasn't She's So Cold on the flip side, I think?
Oh,
I think that was my first 45. I don't remember. I didn't even.
And I like She's So Cold. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but I like to say that it was Kiss Love Gun, and I bought 2 at the same time with my own money. But I think it was actually the album from the Bee Gees called "Spirits Having Flown." Yeah.
That's classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah,
rock.
it had the song Tragedy, and then Too Much Heaven was also on that album. But
okay. Was that after the death of their brother, Andy Gibbs?
No,
it was before then?
Yeah.
Because I don't remember.
It was still before that.
Saturday Night Fever was a phenomenon.
It was right after the Saturday Night Fever stuff. So
Have you heard the recent album by the DGs?
No.
Foo Fighters?
No.
It's the Foo Fighters doing all Bee Gees tunes. It's great.
Yes. I did hear one of the songs.
They do a great version of Tragedy, which is really good, and You Should Be Dancing, and a couple of others. It's fun.
Oh, I saw. They should
Have you
be
seen the
dancing.
music video for it?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Just awesome.
Is that where they?
I'll have to look
I
that
love the
up.
fact that the Foo Fighters are at a place now where they can do whatever the hell they want for fun.
Yeah, no
Yes.
doubt. They did those Jewish.
They got a horror movie coming out here shortly.
Yeah, 666. What is it? Album 666?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Or Studio 666, I think is
There
what
you
it
go.
is. Yeah. He Dave Grohl could do no wrong.
Yeah.
I think everybody loves him. You know what I mean? So yeah, he's like the Keanu Reeves. Where just everybody just loves the guys. So.
What about you, Luke?
Well, My first album was Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That was very popular. I mean, that was.
Yeah, with the women.
It was. Well, I was at my formative years of music. Hey, I will own that album till the day I die. I still listen to it. It's fantastic. So
that CD wound up in my car, but I have no idea how it got there, who left it there.
Sure, okay.
It was in my car in high school. I don't know where it came from.
Sure
it was like Peter Frampton Live. Everybody had a copy of it.
Yeah, no doubt.
May not want to admit it.
They mailed them out to everybody just so that make the sales look good, right? Everybody got stuffed in their mailbox.
What was it? Was it Weezer that had the if you installed something on your computer, the Weezer video automatically came on, or installed Windows 98 or something like that.
Well, U2
that was
did that.
automatically downloaded. So
remember, U2 did that.
U2 had that
Verizon thing.
Oh yeah, that was terrible.
That was a horrible album. It pissed me off. Like, why is this U2 album on my
exactly. Yeah.
Now that was the first album that I bought with my own money. Now my dad was in the Columbia House CD club, so 10 CDs for a penny. So,
oh my gosh! So he's still in it. He's still in it. I mean, that 30-something years, you never get him paid.
You can't get out of it.
You can't get out.
But my first tape cassette, Classic Rock, was Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell 2.
Hey, that is a great album.
That's a great album.
So I would claim that as my first one, even though it wasn't my own money. I got it with
number two.
Number two
is a great album.
Hey, that's,
I don't even know if I've heard all. I'll have to go back and listen to that.
On which one?
Number 2, Bat Out of Hell. Number 2.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I haven't
remember it.
It's a good one, and you know
you can do anything. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that.
What is that?
Oh yeah.
And Steinman, he just passed away last year, I think, and that guy, he did a lot of movie background music and stuff too. But Steinman was the writer of all the Meatloaf stuff.
You know,
he's the piano player.
Back to the Columbia House thing. So I got a story about that. So my uncle Kevin was in the club, and they kept sending him stuff, and they kept charging him. So then my aunt Linda worked as a secretary or something at a legal office, and he had to have her get the stationery or something from the legal office,
lawyer's office,
to send to Columbia House to get them to finally stop charging him for these albums.
Oh, I know. It was crazy.
It was.
People got hooked into
I had BMG for a while. It's the same thing as Columbia House, but that helped me build my early CD collection. My vinyl collection was inherited from my dad. By inherited, it means when I moved to Georgia, I took it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Sorry, Dad.
He's like, where's it? I don't know.
That's where I got my first Pink Floyd album and the two Beatles greatest hits, the red and the blue ones. I got those.
Yeah.
From,
yeah.
Several others. Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Luke, what you got for a question?
Which classic rock band has the best rhythm section? And there is also a correct answer for this question. So.
Yeah, I think he already answered it.
I know what the correct answer is, and I put The Who.
There you go.
Yeah, because
that's correct.
Those Keith Moon and those guys just worked together. Keith Moon was definitely sporadic in his drumming and stuff. But
I was going to say Keith Moon and constant rhythm don't come to mind. I mean, he's amazing, but
I call it adding something because if something was missing, he added it. And there was times where the recorders, they would be in the studio, they'd be playing something, and they're like, "What is this? What is this? What is this noise here? What is this?" And they isolated it with the microphone.
It's called jazz.
Yeah, he added something that would be out of a 4-time. He would add something, and it was just a little bit extra.
My favorite extra is when he screams. So if you listen to Quadrophenia, you can hear him going rah in the background. He's getting so into the drum. That's what I love about him. He's just the energy. It's absolutely amazing to listen to any new album.
Some John Bonham stuff. You can hear him growl. He's growling. You can hear him growling while he's drumming. He's like growling. He's hitting him so hard.
The dude was literally, I mean, he really was insane, and it could have been, the drugs and the alcohol.
This makes me think of Uncle Ernie, from
there you go.
I think in order to define the best rhythm section, you got to define the criteria, though.
John Entwistle is the best bass player ever, Al. This isn't even a conversation.
I kind of have to go with Luke on this.
I'm going to throw something out there. I have two answers because the one my first go-to I didn't think might not be considered classic rock, but it's the Meters. Yeah, the Meters. So they played. They're a funk band out of New Orleans with the Neville Brothers. And they played like with Dr. John a lot, like the album. Their main golden period, you had Zigaboo Modalest on drums and George Porter Jr. on bass, and they were fantastic. But say that's skirting the boundaries of classic rock.
And George Porter Jr. played with everybody. I mean, in the rock.
For my actual answer, though, I did go with Cream. I went with Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce.
Oh yeah.
That's the second
Cream?
acceptable.
Ginger Baker's awesome.
Well, what about, I mean, if you're just going like solid rocked in groove, what about Charlie Watts and Bill Wyman? I mean, those guys would lock.
Yeah.
I
don't know if this is sacrilege, but I never got into the Rolling Stones ever. I don't own a single vinyl record.
Oh, wow.
I just
well, yeah. I mean, I can see. You know what? We talked about Iron Maiden and Steve Harris on the bass, and I'm trying to.
Nico, isn't his name like Nico something?
Yeah, Nico. Yeah, those guys together. You got to listen to it.
What about Mick Fleetwood and John McVie? And they played with the John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. They played on the song Werewolves of London. I mean, they played on a bunch of stuff. Obviously, Fleetwood Mac stuff.
When you look at it, once they hit their stride with Rumors and stuff, not so much, but their early stuff, I would say absolutely they're in there. Mm-hmm. When they were truly blues.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Well, on my favorite album, I added some Fleetwood Mac on there, and I was going to try to blow you guys off, and I'm sitting there, I was going to go a different direction of what you guys thought, and then I'm like,
Fleetwood Mac is a controversial probably pick on anything, depending on their era for sure.
They've reinvented themselves at least four times. I could
for sure. Yeah.
I mean,
well, and to go back to yours, Alan, what you said with the Rolling Stones, same thing. They're I love the Rolling Stones. They're great, and especially when you go back and you see their evolution from their early stuff to whatever they put out over the years. Yeah, they had so many different deviations from the standard just rock through line.
Yeah,
that's what makes them really interesting to dive into is all those deviations. It wasn't like a steady decline a steady incline. It was just
they changed
all over the place. Really, they even had some disco kind of styles in there.
Some Girls album was disco.
Geddy Lee and Neil Peart.
Oh yeah, there you go. For sure.
Oh, yeah, we left them out.
I didn't think of that.
That was another one that passed my thought process too, because Neil Peart was one-man army, and then throw Geddy Lee plus singing on top of it. I mean, that's really good.
I put Roger Taylor and John Deacon on my list too as possibles. Yeah. I mean, that's some funky white guy bass right there. English dude even. Yeah. I mean that's weird, right?
Right.
It's just some white guy from England can play like that funky bass line. They got Another One Bites the Dust and a bunch of those.
They bought a lot of the blues albums from America, and I mean the Beatles will tell you that's what they did, and Cream and all these other ones were like they're just doing the blues and doing it, putting their English stink on it, and then they brought it back to the United States. I mean,
and like we mentioned before we started recording, I have a new appreciation for Paul and Ringo, Yeah, watching Get Back and seeing those two work together as far as trying different ideas, like get a different bass guitar. Like watching that recording process. That's pretty fascinating, and seeing them work together to get the rhythm of the song while they're just vocalizing lyrics that don't exist yet, all just to the rhythm of the bass and drums. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. That documentary is highly recommended.
Can't wait to see how it ends.
I don't. No spoiler. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
What is a popular band or song that you always turn off? Something that to you is tired or overplayed or overrated?
Proud Mary. Proud Mary from Creedence. Jesus, I'm so sick. Just thinking about it. Just thinking about it right now wants me to I want to reach through there and grab somebody's throat right now. Just like, that's how much I'm so sick of that song.
It is a good song, but there's so many other.
No, it's not. It's not even a good song.
But there's better Creedence songs out there. Definitely.
Oh my gosh. I had some other ones on my list too that you guys are probably going to want to reach through and grab my throat. I put these, maybe not, like American Pie and In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. I'm so sick of that shit. I'm so sick of that.
Well, I thought everybody's long song was going to be In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, but I don't care for that.
It's In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida is not like the other long tracks we mentioned. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, you got to be invested. Like, okay, I'm going to sit and listen to In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
That's exactly right.
Because it's almost like homework.
I had the album that it was on, but that was.
I thought the ones you guys might hate me for is. Like Hotel California. Sometimes I get bored of that song. Sometimes,
yeah,
I get bored. And Stairway. I fast forward to the good part.
Oh no!
Right when it gets to
I'll give you Stairway.
That's right. That's
I'll give you Stairway, but I gotta like veto Hotel California here or something.
Yeah.
That's still a great track, and when you hear it off of their live album is even better. And then I'll even throw out the acoustic version on Hell Freezes Over. I love those.
I like that one. Just sometimes it's a mood.
Well, that's what I love, that whole album of Led Zeppelin. I love the whole album. But in Peoria, they would have top 500 every year during the Indy 500 race. Was that Memorial Day weekend or whatever? And Stairway to Heaven seemed to be always number one. And I mean, for a time there, that was.
Well, you know what? I'm going to let you in on a little radio magic. And since I was in the biz there, as they say,
sure,
that countdown's all bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no. Do you think DJs actually did some sort of tally, like 1, 2, 3, 4? No, there's no way, dude. It was all. That's right. And there's no computers then. There's no computers.
Phone calls.
I'm sorry if I burst your bubble there, but.
So would it just be the DJ's list, or is this the radio station's list?
Yeah, it'd be the program. It was the programmer. Yeah, whoever was just
radio
doing the music.
Oh well, I do remember one year. Was it Bonnie Raitt? No. What was it? Need a Hero. What was that song?
Linda Carlo.
Oh yeah, Bonnie Tyler.
Bonnie Tyler. Yeah, that was number one year, and I thought,
no, it was.
Yes, it was, and I said, shoot me. I'm like, no, but it was the year that came out. And,
okay, well, that programmer must have got fired before, or knew he was going to get fired. And he just did that on purpose.
And I'm sitting there going, because Stairway to Heaven got second place, and I'm going, no, I'm going. It's a
Bonnie Tyler's people must have contacted the station.
That's
pay to play
exactly.
There.
Yeah,
she was probably coming to town, and then they were trying to promote it.
Sell tickets. That could have been.
Yeah,
she was playing the local fair that weekend.
Yeah.
Who I put was U2. U2 to me is such an overrated band. The guitar playing, what was that? They did the rockumentary thing with Page and Jack White and The Edge. Yeah, it's going to get loud. So I'm sitting there watching that, and I'm thinking one thing is not like the others. He did not, you know what I mean? And that thing really sucked because it never got loud. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there waiting for this. Hey, man, these guys are going to come out. I think
the title was "It Might." It might.
Yeah, there's a key word in there.
It wasn't. It will get loud. It might get loud.
What would have been perfect is if Eddie Van Halen busted in and rapped out "Eruption" right on the whole thing, and the credits roll. You know what I mean?
U2's never really resonated with me. I mean, a couple of decent singles here and there, but they just haven't really.
I never got into them.
You know what? Bono does good to the world. He uses his fame. That's great. But musically and just completely, totally overrated.
I think The Edge is held with such esteem because he came up with a sound. It doesn't necessarily have to be technical. And that goes back to Ringo. He played with feel. He wasn't a technical drummer, so.
I think the sound is the same over and over.
But it is. Yes. But he had that was his. He created that. Yes.
But it's not like AC/DC the same. You know what I mean?
Well, there is a YouTube documentary out there called, I think it's Rattle and Hum.
Yes.
And there's a couple scenes in there where they're like playing in a subway and it's just them jamming. Yeah. That's not bad. Right. I mean, when they're jamming and stuff and just playing stripped down, feeling off of each other. Yeah. That's good. But their studio
I'm saying they could play in a bar.
I
mean, I would go, I'd be okay, entertained for that. But man, I don't know.
And they've been around since 1976. I mean, they're definitely classic rock. So I know a lot of people wouldn't.
You know who else was around in 1976? Weird Al Yankovic, and he's sold more albums and has 5 Grammy nominations. So if you want, and then. He plays all types of different music. He goes, he does the rap and rock and 50s doo-wop. So, I mean, he doesn't play the same old thing. So
his band is fantastic. I've seen him several times, and just the wide swath of genres that they have to play. Yeah, they're great. They are really good.
Yeah, John.
Yeah.
We actually got into a pretty deep conversation about Weird Al in my episode.
Yeah, we did actually. Yeah, on the radio one.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. We'll have to listen to that.
I'm gonna throw a band and a song out there that I always turn off. I can't listen to it. But the band is Supertramp.
Oh, come on, man. Which one?
If Supertramp comes on the radio, it is. Yeah, no, I can't stand them. Cannot stand Supertramp.
They had 2 songs that were undeniably
cool. I love the song.
Undeniably cool when they definitely came out. What I have to do is listen to it again now to see if it stands the test of time. But I can remember at a time there, a lot of people had Breakfast in America. I mean, that's what. Yeah,
logical song.
If I never hear Logical again, that's. I'll happy.
Oh yeah.
That's not the song though. My song is Sweet Home Alabama. I never want to hear it again.
What? That's sacrilegious.
I live in the South too, and
I can definitely see that getting overplayed.
It needs to be erased from history. It's just
no wonder you didn't. Your favorite long track wasn't Freebird. I mean, you got to listen to that too much.
Freebird's great. Actually, on Freebird, I remember asking my dad when I was younger. It's like, Dad, I've never heard Freebird. Do you have that? And sat out in his truck, and he had he had the tape. He did.
Yeah.
and
of course he did.
We sat there
Everybody
for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Everybody was
we
either
fast forward to get to it because it's a goddamn tape. But what about you, Luke?
Yeah.
So my answer, the sad thing is I own a majority of their albums on vinyl because my dad was an Uber fan. I will turn off anything by REO Speedwagon.
Oh no! No, Gary,
you're local.
Keep on Loving You, Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore.
Especially being from East Peoria.
Okay, well, those.
Yeah, they're Champaign, right?
No, well, Gary Richrath was from East Peoria.
Okay, gotcha.
And the Turkey Trot, and one of my favorite albums would be the Decade of Rock and Roll. It was like almost like a best of.
That explains so much of why they were always played in the Illinois Valley. I didn't know they were from Peoria.
Yeah,
I think that's why I don't like. I'm not saying they're a bad band. I will give them credit. They're a phenomenal band, but
the songs you listed do suck. Those were
Take
good.
It on the Run. Take It on the Run. That's a
okay. I like that one.
I was going to say the old
High Infidelity. High Infidelity backwards.
Yeah,
was the best.
Yeah,
I think that was their best song.
Tuna Fish. You can tune the piano, but can't tune the fish.
They sang the "Heard It From a Friend Who Heard It From a Friend." That's them, right?
Yeah,
that was getting
on the run.
That was getting closer to the 80s. I used to have a 10-speed bicycle with a little luggage rack on the front of it, and I had a boombox attached to it. And decade of rock and roll, or
I have it on vinyl.
That was a great.
My dad did have those vinyls, but for some reason they didn't make it to Georgia.
You cherry picked them.
Right, I did. I also left the Best of Bread, so I didn't feel that one.
Oh my gosh, that was another album that a lot of people had in their house. Was Best of Bread. It was crazy how many they sold.
They mailed those out. It was Columbia House, man. I'm telling you, you get. That was like the freebie. They were just trying to get rid of them all.
And Peter Frampton Live was another one that I saw a lot of people had at their house. I'm like, man.
I think another one is Soaked Degrees from Boz Scaggs.
Oh, yeah.
That was another one. Everybody, it seems like, in their collection has that.
Did they have the Lido Shuffle on there?
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Which I love it. I love that song. I love it. I love the bass. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think we covered that one. Yeah. Didn't we? Did everybody get theirs in?
I'd like to thank you for listening to part 1 of our Classic Rock Roundtable, the first bonus episode for the show. Part 2 will be released in a few weeks after our next regularly scheduled Monday episode. For those that cannot wait, part 2 is already up on our Patreon along with several future episodes. More roundtables are being organized. What topics would you like us? More roundtables are being organized. What topics would you like to see us cover? Please let us know on social media, our website, or plain old email. We'd love to hear from you. So again, thank you for listening to Music Rewind, a podcast from the Sidereal Media Group. As I always say, listen to the full album. Until next time.
A podcast from the Sidereal Media Group. Back to you, anchors.